I will turn it on the YouTube, the YouTube. And now we are up and we are running. So I'm going to walk over to the screen. You'll be able to hear me. Today I am not doing the group ride with Basecamp. This is actually the final week of Basecamp, and it's actually a rest week leading into our final FTP test of the winter training program, which is known as Basecamp. And so yesterday we were off. On Sunday I had a race down in Florida. Finished 14th in my age group for a century race. Yes, I am clapping for myself. Thank you. And yeah, I'm getting ready for the one next month in Georgia. So I didn't ride. Monday was my off day. I didn't ride. What is today? Thursday. I didn't ride Tuesday because that was the second off day. Yesterday was our workout was to either a 45-minute light endurance ride or recovery ride or walking. I opted for the walking because I was still kind of tired. I'm not sure why. I think it's from driving all the way back from Florida. But, and I did not eat well while I was driving back. But then after that, today I have this ride. Tomorrow we have another kind of opener. And then Saturday is an FTP test. So you'll see here, I have the workout loaded, which is the Basecamp high cadence ramps. I missed the 10 a.m. ride because I didn't even know it was happening, because usually on weeks where we have FTP tests, there are no Basecamp group rides. But this week, since it's the last one, apparently there are, so I missed it. But you'll see there is one starting at 5:45, which is in exactly 6 hours and 59 minutes. You can see that right here on the screen where it's asking me if I want to join. There's already 56 people signed up for it. I have an appointment, so I can't be there. But I'm going to do it today. I'm riding my Basecamp high cadence ramps, which I'll go back into here. And so we can look at the workout. This is just the warm-up. 10 minutes easy. And then you see we're not really adding a whole lot of power. It's just some higher cadence pedals throughout. And it's only about a 1 hour ride, I think. Yeah, 1 hour. And so I'm going to ride it in erg mode. I'm going to ride it in Richmond. I don't know why. Just because that's where it told me I was going to be. Before I hit start, I need to go get a bottle of water. Alrighty, and now I've got my bottle of water. I'm going to click on ride. I'm going to climb onto my trainer. I'm going to put this over here. Whoa. Huh. Alrighty then. So, yeah, I don't know if it's like this for you, but for me, it's really tough getting back into the swing of things. When my schedule has been disrupted by travel for a week, it all of a sudden becomes pretty hard to get back into it, to settle back down, to I don't know what you want to call it. I'm trying to figure out. Here we go. I've got a different headset today to listen to music because, well, you know that the powers that be over there at Twitch and at Facebook and at YouTube, they don't think that you're good enough to hear the music that I hear for, well, we all know what the reason is. Time wear. So I'm going to put some tunage on Amazon Music, which is what I listened to during my race. I've never used these headphones. I don't have a review for them because they came in. All right, now I'm going to start my workout. They came in while I was down in Florida. And so the sound, honestly, at least at a low volume, is not too bad. Not great. Maybe I had them in wrong. I don't know. Maybe I've got them in the wrong ears. Actually, the sound's pretty good. They're called Butterflies, B-U-D-D-E-R. They're like a soft rubber earbud thing. And I've currently got their wireless hookup thing. All right, now they say that because of the rubber thing, they fit in everybody's ear and they're going to stay in. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not feeling that. At least not in this one. And, yeah, I don't think I have them in right. Anyhow. So I just pulled the one out of my ear. All right. So yeah, I rode in the Gran Fondo National Series, the GFNS, down in San Antonio, Florida. It's a different format. You don't race the whole 100 miles. You have to ride the whole course, but there are only 4 timed segments. Yeah, I'm not impressed with these so far. What the hell? Now it just shut off on me. So anyhow, it's a 100-mile race course, but there's only 4 timed segments. Each of them were, I don't know, between 3 and 5 miles long. And obviously, since this one is in Central Florida. Yeah, racing against a bunch of people who have been, you know, riding long distance and training all winter. But they've been training in the flats of Miami or wherever they live. There was only 2,500 feet of climbing in this route. 2,800, I think, roughly. So for them, you know, they were like, oh, well, whatever. But most of them are not doing the rest of the series. I don't know that I'm doing the whole series. My plan right now is to ride the first 4, or at least 3 of the first 4. There was this one. Next month is in Helen, Georgia, up in the North Georgia mountains. And then that one, it is an 89-mile race course. Spin it up, 95. It's a 95-mile race course or 85-mile race course with 8,500 feet of climbing. Yeah, you got that right. 100 feet of climbing for every mile. So, it's going to be a really difficult, challenging ride. And it means that I'm going to have to specifically be training for climbing over the next month. Okay, these butterflies I'm not impressed with. Yeah, obviously you always need to get stronger, right? But with 100 feet of climbing on average per mile, yeah, that's gonna be like riding 200 miles. So, I'm going to want to get stronger over the next month. I always want to get stronger. But specifically, I need to Then there's a month off. So this was the March race. That's the April race. May, nothing. June is the one I'm not sure I'm doing because I may or may not be in Boulder, Colorado for a training camp, a climbing camp that week. I'm not sure when the Boulder camp is. So that will determine if it conflicts with that. That will determine when or if I go ride in there in Butler, New Jersey. National Championship. In Asheville, North Carolina. And that's a lot of climbing too. So the way it's set up for my schedule, in the last week of June, I'm doing an MS ride from Toledo, Ohio to Port Clinton, basically to Sandusky. 100 miles there, 100 miles back the next day. Then I think I have 2 weeks with no events, beginning of July. Then I have this GFNS ride in Asheville, the National Championship. Alright, this thing keeps losing its connection also. In addition to falling out of my ear all the time. So, after that, the GFNS, that's on a Sunday. The following Thursday is the start of the Pan Ohio Hope Ride, POHR. That's a ride from the shore of Lake Erie all the way down the state to the banks of the Ohio River. A fun 4-day ride, about 100 miles a day. And one of the most well-supported rides I've ever done. Even if they do have M&Ms and frickin' Twix bars at the rest stops. So, I've got that. That's a 4-day ride. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then a week after that, I have the original MS 150 ride called Pedal to the Point, which was the first organized ride, charity event, whatever you want to call it, sportive, that I ever did, like 25 or 30 years ago. And for a bunch of years, they had it not going to Cedar Point, but now this year it's back. And it's better than ever because it's 100 miles down and 100 miles back the next day. So that will be good, that will be fun, that'll be exciting. Got 3 pretty big and challenging events back to back to back. So, at the Gran Fondo National Series event that I rode, I started in about the middle of the corral. I wasn't all focused on being up front. I did not plan on being that, that guy that came out hot. In fact, because there's only 4 timed segments, and the time in between those segments doesn't matter as long as you meet the maximum time for the entire course. But literally you could slow down to, like, I don't know, 12 or 15 miles an hour between segments and still theoretically win the race. So I wasn't going to get caught up in the hype, in the anybody sprinting off early. So I started in the middle of the pack. The pack was kind of moving okay, but you could tell that within the first, 3 or 4 miles, there started to be some separation. I didn't want to end up with a group that was too slow. So I decided to move up to the front group, and I was just gonna kind of stick in the pack of that front group the whole day. And ultimately, that's what I did. It took me a while to get up there from, like I said, the 4 or 5 mile point. But then I was up there with them. Got in the sprint, the first sprint zone, the first timed segment, I got squeezed off the road by a woman who thought she was racing a crit, literally. Literally pushed me right off the road into some crushed limestone, and there was a lip that was preventing me from getting back on. So I didn't wipe out. I stayed on my wheels, but obviously slowed way down. Eventually got back on the road, bitching and screaming and hollering and whatever. She was oblivious to, anything. But I did that, got squeezed out, got back on, finished that segment, not as quickly as I wanted it to, but still an okay time. Then there was a water stop right after that, and a couple people slowed down as if they were stopping, and I wasn't really planning on stopping at that one. Well, my original plan was to stop at all of them, right? Stay well hydrated, fuel well. After the segment, you can stop because you're not being timed anymore. But the majority of the group kept going. So I was a little behind at that point, between getting pushed off the road and then seeing people stop. So it took me, I think, 2 miles to catch back up to the group. And I was debating in those 2 miles, or however long it took, I was debating whether or not I was actually going to put out the energy to catch up to them, or if I should just drop back and wait for the group that did stop. Well, I ended up going, and I ended up catching up to them. The pace between segments wasn't, for the most part, wasn't hellish. It was a decent pace. second segment, I did a little better. I was more cognizant of my position on the road because obviously I didn't want to get pushed off the road again. And so I was closer to the left-hand side of the lane. But there were some idiotic drivers on that segment of the road. Kind of, not riders, drivers, cars, pickup trucks. And they were driving pretty crazy, passing the whole peloton. And so in the third segment, without really thinking, we just made a right-hand turn into the sprint zone. I was on the curbside again. And once again, I didn't get squeezed off the road, but I got boxed in. And I was screwed. I literally couldn't get out. I had 2 people in front of me, 2 or 3 people to the left of me, at the edge of the road to the right of me, and several people behind me. So the people that were next to me were staying on the wheel of the people in front of us. The people behind me were not giving me any room. I could have slowed down and forced them to let me through, or at least to let me back up. But there's no telling that if you're going to actually be able to escape and get out to the left at any point. So I had to just stick in it and ride the way I did. The last segment, leading up to the last segment, we actually did have, the group itself went, well, I was obviously tired, a little worn out. I hadn't hydrated well. We did stop once for water. And I didn't follow my nutrition plan as closely as I would hope I would. And so I was a little tired. The group was going a little hard. I was able to hang on, but only barely. By the time we got to the 4th segment, I had recovered okay. I had, dumped a couple gels into me, and a whole bottle of water. And by the time we got there, I was feeling better. But I didn't know how long that last segment was. I should have looked more closely. I thought it was from like mile 80, I don't know, 84 or wherever it was, to the end of the ride. So like a long segment. And so I crossed the line and I start going, but I'm definitely reserved. Trying to keep my energy, trying to keep my power for the last, half mile or even mile, right? There were some people that were kind of going by on the left, almost sprinting, but not quite. And I literally verbally made comments about the fact that it's really early to be going. Well, this segment was only 3 miles, not 10 miles. So I didn't hit that one as hard as I could have. I could have gone harder, in other words, but I didn't. So, live and learn. As it turns out, I finished 14th in my age group, which, isn't bad for my... the first time I've ever actually done this race and been concerned about the times, or been focused on the times, or even, put any effort into the segments at all. I ended up with my overall power was 2 watts higher than my best event last year, which was at Tulsa Tough. So that was a good sign for Basecamp, because it certainly made me more fit and stronger. even if I didn't have the mentality to ride the race the way I had planned. All right, well, the focus of today is to cadence. Certainly not on power. We don't want to tire ourselves out before the FTP test, but we want to wake everything up. So I should be supremely focused on my power, on my cadence. So this is the end of the Basecamp winter training program that I paid for this year, but is not going to be the end of my streaming. Obviously, I don't possess the technology to stream while I'm riding out on the road. But I plan on at least a couple of my workouts per week, maybe 3 or 4 of them, are going to be here on the trainer. So I will continue to ride indoors so that I can stay focused and get the benefit of the workouts that I'm supposed to, while mixing in some outdoor riding as well. Boy, it's really warm in here. Stay focused on your cadence. As I'm thinking about stuff and I lose focus. Look at my heart rate. I'm going to try to switch these ears. Man, you'd think I hadn't ridden in a month. Not 2 to 3 days. Now, it still cuts out for long periods of time, these headphones do. Yep, just cut out again. I'm sure it's a Bluetooth issue, but this Bluetooth cord they sent me. Trying to focus on these cadences. If I stare right at the number, I can stay pretty close. But even just a little bit of talking and see that I'm off now. Well, I'm certainly working on acclimating to the heat. I don't have my heat sensor on, my core temperature sensor on, but Huh. Wasn't ready for that to end. 1,000 feet, 16 miles, 1 hour. What was it, about 800 calories, almost 2 slices of pie. And I'm starting to wake up from my 3 days off. Huh, they changed that screen, you can't see it now. Oh well. So tomorrow I think is a little bit more of an, I haven't looked at it honestly, but I think tomorrow is a little bit more of an intense workout. Really kind of get the legs opened up. Saturday, FTP test. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to try to climb the FTP test this time. That was a big mistake last month. I'm going to do it on that flat course on Watopia, whatever it's called. The flat one. That way I'm totally in control of my power. I got enough gears that it's not going to be an issue. Yeah, and then a couple hours of endurance riding after that. And then who knows, maybe if it's nice out on Sunday, maybe I'll hit the road. Or I could be doing some endurance riding right here in the Pain Cave. So make sure, I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate you. Tell your friends, tell your family members, share on your social medias that you watch The American Mammal, because my name is Dave and I am the middle-aged man in Lycra. And who doesn't want to watch a guy like